Welcome to the Thought Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and I know that healthy relationships, deep self-trust, and confidence can only come from one place, your thoughts. Join me as I share my best life coaching tools and turn you into a thought boss. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today I have a special treat for us. I am interviewing not only my good friend, but also who I would consider a parenting expert. She has done all her research. She has read every parenting book, but she also lives what she preaches. So I love following her Instagram and hearing her amazing tips for parenting, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And the things that she has been through can help so many people. So I'm so excited to have you on, Natalie. How's it going?
Thanks for having me. I'm excited too. I love talking about this stuff.
Like, this is basically what you would hear if you went to the park with us. And one thing I really love about these conversations is that Natalie never approaches it from a place of judgment, which is why I feel so comfortable talking to her, and why I think probably, so many other people do too, is because she knows what it's like to parent what you would consider a difficult child. And so she has nothing but love for people. And I think that's why, her advice and her help and coaching on Instagram is so helpful, because you really know that she has real experience and that it's just her offering, this is what has worked for me. This is why it works. And here's how you can try it. So we're going to get a little bit into that. And so if you just want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah. I think the things that you said are totally true, or at least what I hope to come across is that I am in the trenches and I have been working tirelessly. It's what I spend 99% of my time thinking about and applying and learning. And I really have uncovered some things that have just changed everything for me, parenting wise, and for our family dynamics, our relationships. And I wish I would have had these things a long time ago. And so I feel really passionate about sharing them and about showing and applying the principles, because I think that's something that I got really stuck on when I would try to do things in the past. Is yeah, but do you have my children? And how does that approach work with difficult behaviors? And that really is my goal, is teaching people how to navigate those tricky, big emotions and difficult behaviors. So I have 3 kids, ages 11, 7, and 4, 2 boys and a girl. And I would say all 3 of my kids are big feeling kids. They have a lot of emotions. They have a lot to say. And really what has led me to where I am today are my kids. They are my biggest teachers, hands down. Sometimes I find myself looking at other families and other children and other situations, and for a second feeling a little bit sorry for myself, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I would do if my kids were like that, or if my kids were that easy. But I find myself quickly correcting myself and being so incredibly thankful for the challenges and the difficult behaviors that I guess started with, because it's what led me on this journey. It's what led me to where I am today. If my kids would have just said, okay, thank you, mommy, and just done everything, the way that you think before you have kids that they're going to do, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm really, really thankful for it. But I've always been a lifelong learner. I've always wanted to know how to do whatever I'm doing the best way possible. Just like any other mom, when you become a first-time mom, I think you're on a mission to try to figure out how do I do it? What's the best way to do it? I need to read this book. I need to do this thing. And so that's kind of where I started, just like everyone else. And really I had a pretty typical well-behaved child until my first child turned 3, and all of a sudden it was a light switch, and I literally did not know what to do with myself. It was one day he was this little angel that would do and say, anything that I wanted and just like, exactly on tune. And then all of a sudden it was the exact opposite. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it. And it was really, really, really hard. So I kind of set out on a mission, and I like think of my journey as like, honestly, the past almost 9 years. Like when I started, it was, how do I fix my child? Yeah. How do I fix this behavior?
Yeah.
What's wrong with him, without saying that to him, but like, what is wrong with him? Why is he this way? And now 9 years later, my thought process is completely different about it. My thought process is not focused so much on him as it is on me and what things I may be experiencing that contribute to the behaviors of my children. So it's really been like a really evolution of parenting and knowledge, and the place that I've arrived to now is just, I don't know, it feels really beautiful. It feels really, it feels right. It feels like the place that I've always wanted to be as a mom, but I didn't quite know what to do to get there. And so that's why I love sharing it, and that's why I'm passionate about it, is hoping that I can help someone else get there easier and more quickly than me.
Yeah. Amazing. So I'm really curious because of something you said. I think parents think that kids come as this blank slate, that like if a child is acting up or they're quote difficult, like it's the parent's fault because they're not, maybe in like previous generations it would be like, you're not beating your kid enough with a belt or something. And clearly, like, that can't possibly be true. Number one, because all of our kids are so different from each other, but we're the same parent to them. So I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts are on, like, quote, difficult children, and if that's really a thing, and why you think it is that, like, some people have, like harder children, and some people don't. And then, of course, most people have a mix, right?
Yeah. So, I think it's a two-part question. I think that there's for sure, neurodivergent kids. There's kids who are born with things that are outside of their control that can cause them to have more difficult behaviors.
Yeah.
But I think those things aside, our kids are born with different personalities and different tendencies, and some are more strong-willed and some are more passive. But I think for the most part, the behavior is brought on by an underlying symptom. Something is going on behind the behavior. The behavior is like the alert. That's how I like to think about it, is like, what's going on? This is alerting me that there's some unmet need or something going on behind them. So would I say that, like, there are quote unquote difficult kids? I think that all kids can be difficult, but I think finding out what it is that's causing that is really where we need to focus our attention, because when we understand those things and when we really look at them differently, that difficult child, like that role that we have placed on them, like, can melt away. And I think that's really what I have found with my children. Like, my 4-year-old is very intense. He has so much energy. He's bouncing off the walls.
We
He's
love
very,
him
very,
so much.
Very physical. So, like, was he born that way? Yes.
Yeah.
But does that make him a difficult child?
Right.
No.
I think it's such an interesting thing too, because maybe sometimes it just means like you're a safe place for them to have big emotions, right? Because I wasn't a difficult child, but that's because I didn't feel safe enough to express any of my feelings. But for sure I had big feelings, right?
Absolutely.
So I knew how to be an easy child because I knew that was safe, right?
Yeah,
so just like you said, like, every child can be quote difficult, but really maybe just what's difficult about it is just like, I don't know how to handle my own big emotions, so how do I handle their big emotions?
Absolutely.
But, like, we're humans, right? Like, we're supposed to be having these emotions.
Absolutely. This is my opinion. But I believe if your children feel comfortable having big emotions in front of you, and they're having meltdowns, and they're free to cry, and they're free to be angry, and they're free to be upset, that's a sign that you're doing a really good job parenting, because your kids feel safe to be able to express these emotions, and they're not just shutting down because they're afraid that they're going to be punished, or they're afraid that they're going to be shamed, or they're just afraid in general. Does that make it easier? No, it doesn't make it easier. And sometimes when we are parenting in this way, it can feel like, gosh, is this even working? Is this like the right thing? Because they really are not afraid to tell me what they think.
Yeah. Because we think if we were doing the right thing, it would be easier.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Really,
but that's when we can pat ourselves on the back and say, I am raising someone who is willing to speak up for how they feel. But they're not going to cower because they're afraid of mom or dad shaming them or getting angry with them, right? Yeah. Like, that doesn't mean that we let them say and do whatever they want.
Right.
But I think it's a positive thing to think my kid feels safe sharing with me how they feel, and coming to me with those big emotions as opposed to just doing something because I'm just trying to please somebody else.
Yeah.
And so much of the time, I think the consensus is like, oh, to be a good parent, your kid has to say yes when you tell them to do something. They have to not talk back. They have to not throw a tantrum.
Yes.
That I just completely disagree with.
Yes.
I think that our children behave in those ways. Some kids do, I think, come naturally just more like agreeable and more like compatible. They're just more mild-tempered. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I think that if they are responding like that all of the time, all of your children, it's more likely that they're doing it out of a place of fear or a place of pleasing, which that's just not my goal.
I mean, I feel like that was the goal, like maybe the generation before us or before that. And then things started shifting maybe like in the 90s or something. And now we're in like a whole new phase of parenting. I think that's why there's so many parenting podcasts. Yeah. But before, I really feel like it was like children are meant to be obedient. Yeah. Like, they're a representation of this family, so don't you dare do anything that would embarrass us, right? Like, we operated as a society out of shame. And that just told our kids that, like, who you are doesn't matter as long as it's right. As long as people approve of you, then I approve of you. Yeah. And so we've just been living out of fear for so long. We're having to undo this, right? Which brings me to the first thing that I really wanted to talk about, which is something you bring up on your Instagram a lot, and that's parenting ourselves in the way that we truly needed to be parented. No shade on our parents, who obviously did the best that they could, coming from wherever they came from. But tell me about parenting ourselves, what that means, and why do it before parenting just the child.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the type of parenting that you just talked about, that, like, you know, our parents in previous generations did, that created someone who didn't know who they were, who didn't know what they felt, what they liked, what was important to them. They were doing things to please someone else or to go against what somebody else was trying to make them do. And what ends up happening is that you don't have a sense of self. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you love about yourself. You don't know the things that are important to you. You just are operating out of almost a programming that isn't really your true self. So this type of parenting approach I consider to be conscious parenting, which is being conscious of your own self and how your triggers and your unmet emotional problems are really what's triggering the problems you're having with your kids.
Yeah. So give us a good example of that.
Okay. When your kids act out in any way, let's say your kid talks back to you. You say, "Hey, bud, can you go clean your room?" And he says, "No, I'm not doing that." Yeah. Most people's initial thought to that is, "Don't you dare talk to me like that. How dare you talk to me like that?" Yeah. I was definitely on those lines. I think that I was trying to parent very gently, and I would respond a little bit kinder than that. And I would say, "Excuse me, I am not okay with you talking to me like that. That's not okay." Yeah. Which, that's also an okay thing to say. But the point that is different now is that came from a place of me being really triggered. Like, how dare he talk to me like that? Because I wasn't allowed to talk to my parents
interesting.
that way. I wasn't allowed to feel my emotions. If I felt angry, if I felt sad, if I felt frustrated, that was a bad thing.
Right.
For me, I didn't understand for a really long time in my life, even as an adult, that it was okay to be angry. That sounds crazy to me. I don't know. Maybe I've just been like on this journey long enough that saying that sounds insane. But I actually...
I remember believing that, though.
I actually thought like that was a bad thing. I remember my poor husband. I remember the first time we got in a fight and I was like, he wasn't horrible. No, but he was angry and I was like, the world is ending. Like, he is angry. And I don't ever remember seeing my parents be really angry with each other.
Yeah.
And my husband was really respectful, but he was mad. Yeah. And I had zero space for that. Absolutely zero. I remember telling him, like, your lip is quivering. And he was like, it was like this sign, like if I saw that, that threatened me so badly. Not because he was going to do anything, but because I had no space for his emotions. And it's because my parents did not have space for my big emotions. I wasn't safe with my emotions because they weren't safe for my parents. And it's because they had not dealt with the things that weren't safe for them. So it is really like this vicious cycle. Yeah. And until we turn inward and until we work on the things that are triggering to ourselves, 100% of the time we're going to be triggered by the things that our kids do. Yeah. No matter how hard we try to implement these techniques, we're going to be triggered and we're going to react. And that's what I was experiencing for a lot of years until I realized, okay, this is about me. I have to heal these unmet needs within myself. I have to address what it is that's going on with me because the things that I'm feeling with the way that my son responds when I tell him to do something, really, if I detach myself from it, if you were here, right, and you asked my son to do that, and he, you know, didn't respond disrespectfully, but he just was maybe a little bit bugged, or maybe he didn't respond like the way that I wanted, you wouldn't be triggered by it. Right. You would just be like, okay, but that's what I need you to do. You'd be very like non-emotional about it. You know, that's what I need you to do. That's the rules. Please get it done. You wouldn't have any feelings towards it. And I think that as parents, we can like resonate that when we think about other people's kids. Like we don't have like that emotional feeling. It's really easy to be like, sorry, that's the rules. Right? Like if you have a friend over and you know, it's somebody else's kids, it's really easy to just say what it is and move away from it. You're not like, that is interesting. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they didn't listen to me and how dare they talk like that. You don't have those feelings.
That's so interesting.
And it's because it doesn't trigger that in us, right? So I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but I think that my biggest thing that I focus on with parenting is not my children, it's myself. And that's really what conscious parenting is about, is turning inward and working to heal yourself so that when you are in those situations with your kids, there's nothing blocking what's actually happening. There's no like past memories, past feelings, triggers, unmet needs, anything that has to do with you. It's all just like the situation at hand. But until we really work on ourselves and become conscious of that, it's not possible to do it. And that's why I kept running into these roadblocks. Like I was trying very hard. And if this thing didn't work, I was going to the next thing and the next book and the next podcast and the next therapist and the next parenting workshop.
It was all child focused. All on changing their behavior.
And I definitely would implement some things that I would learn, you know, different verbiage to use or different like, you know, methods and stuff. But it always brought me back to the exact same place because those triggers were there. And for me, it all stemmed around emotion and not being able to hold space for my kids' emotions because my kids have big emotions. Most kids have really big explosive emotions. And I didn't know how to deal with that because I didn't know how to deal with my own. And that really was the issue.
Okay, so I have a question for you. And I think this is probably a question that other people will have too. And it's just this idea that like if you don't punish kids, they'll never learn like how to behave, right? Again, we're back into this idea that like their job is to behave. But also like there's this tiny fear that they're going to grow up and go murder a city or something. Like they're going to turn into these terrible people if we don't punish them all the time. So are you saying like we don't punish them? Like what is your thoughts on that?
So this is something that was really hard for me to wrap my brain around until I started consciously parenting. And what I mean by that is working on myself.
Okay.
So I don't have any doubt that most people listening to this are going to have resistance to it, and that's okay. It's all just a journey. But if you are really wanting to parent in a way that's going to offer your child the ability to find themselves, to find safety within themselves, to find confidence within themselves, to love themselves, and to be able to make decisions not based upon what somebody else wants, but what they want, then punishment is not the way. Punishment leads to shame. Punishment leads to almost like a coercion of what it is that you want. We don't want our kids to do, I mean, we do want them to do what we want them to do. Yes, but we want them to do the right thing because they want to do the right thing, right?
Yeah. Is it possible that they already kind of know like what the right thing is? So it's not like we probably don't have to shove it on them so much.
I think we get so caught up in like worrying about the future. Like when our kid is 7, like, oh my gosh, when they are 20, they are going to do this when they're at work and they're going to get fired and then they're never going to have another job. And like, that's just, we cannot think like that because that's just not the case. Like our kids at 7 are not going to be the same as they are at 11 and 14 and 20 and 30 and 40. I think about myself as a 25-year-old married woman.
Right.
And I am not even near the same person.
Totally.
So if you were going to like judge me based on who I was at 25, would I be who I am now at 40? Nope. Yeah. Not the case. Yeah. So it's all an evolution. And I think it really focusing on that age is way more important than trying to like extrapolate. Yeah. For me, the goal, we're kind of like going on a tangent, but I'll come back to what you asked. For me, the goal is to cultivate self-love, cultivate confidence in themselves. Yeah. Because if they don't have that, they're going to have a problem sometime in their life. It's going to show up in some way, whether it's anxiety, depression, or physical illness. So my goal, that's my goal. Yeah. Now, does that mean, I think a lot of times people think like, okay, well, if you're not punishing, then you're just going to let your kids do whatever you want them to do. Totally. Absolutely not. Yeah. And that's another trap that I fell into as well. Yeah. I became a permissive parent because I didn't understand how to hold a boundary. Yeah. I was so afraid from like the limited amount of knowledge that I was able to obtain because I wasn't working on myself. Right. I wasn't able to apply the principles necessary to hold a boundary because I was too afraid that I was going to make my child upset, or I was too afraid that I was doing the wrong thing or that I wasn't doing the right way. But I knew that punishment wasn't the right way, but I didn't know how to do it. My husband was coming from a place where it was like, they do this, this is the consequence. Yes. And there was just always something about it that felt off to me, but I never had like, I just was like, oh, but what is the answer? I remember reaching out to what I consider to be parenting experts and like, yeah, but what do you do in these situations? Yeah. And I'll say this probably another 100 times, like in our talk here, but it is not possible to truly understand these things if you're not working on yourself. It is so essential to heal these like emotional issues within ourselves in order to really be able to see the issues at hand and really be able to parent in a way that's going to cultivate this within our kids. So do we let them get away with anything? Absolutely not. There is a boundary for everything. And a boundary is what I consider to be like, I think that's a fancy word for a rule. Like this is what I am okay with, or this is what I am not okay with. This is the line. You get to choose. Right.
And it's more based on like our family values rather than like, this is just something I don't like.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. You get to choose what that is. Yeah. 1,000%. You choose when you lay the boundary, you have no emotional attachment. It is just the same as me saying, Nicole, this is the paper that's by your pants and you wrote on it with blue ink. Like it's you're unattached from that. And so that would look something like, I shared this today on my Instagram. So that would look something like, hey, honey, it's time to get ready for bed. Yeah. And your child responds like, I don't want to get ready for bed. I just don't want to go to sleep. Like, I want to stay up later, Mom. Yeah. And I would then validate how they feel and say, I get it. I know. Like, when it's time to go to bed, I don't want to go to bed either.
Yeah.
But it's time to go to bed right
Yeah.
now. I don't want to. I'm not going to sleep right now. I know you don't want to go to sleep right now, but it's time for bed, and that's what we're doing. And then I would move in the direction of the boundary. So if we're downstairs and the boundary, which is like, you got to go to bed right now, is upstairs, I'm not going to stay there and argue with my child about, you need to go to bed. Stop talking back to me. It's time to get up. It's time to go to bed. If you don't go to bed right now, then you're not going to be able to play with your friends tomorrow. So get up and go to bed.
Yeah.
No.
Those are the conversations for sure that I find myself in.
Absolutely.
Like,
They
you're
draw
trying to
us in.
reason with
Yes,
them,
and like,
right?
hey, and maybe sometimes you even do it nicer than that.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes you're yelling at them, like, get your freaking butt in bed right now. But we know that none of those things help.
Yeah.
When
And
we
they just make you,
and
like,
then you
so
feel
much
bad
more
at the end of the
agitated.
day. You get mad,
Yeah.
right? And then eventually,
Yeah.
you feel bad, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
Yeah.
right? And really, what it all stemmed from is they're not doing what I said.
Yeah.
When my parents told me to do
Yeah.
something, I did it right that second.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a different issue for
Yeah.
you, but
And I think we make that mean about us, like, they don't respect me.
Yes,
I'm not in
absolutely.
charge. I don't
Yes.
have the power. Like,
Yeah.
it's like maybe some
Yeah.
of a pride thing and a respect and a, like,
And a-
deserving value type
Yeah.
thing. I'm not a good parent if they won't listen to me.
Absolutely. And I think that like goes back to so much of the work that you do, like the
Yeah.
thoughts that you have.
Yeah.
Those are simply not true.
Yeah.
If I mean, like, honestly,
Yeah.
if your child says to you, I
Right.
don't want to go to bed right now, Mom.
Right.
Is it definitively true that they don't
Right. respect
respect you because
Right.
they say that?
Yeah, it can't really be true. This is
No.
their experience that they're
Yeah,
having.
They just don't want to go to bed. In the
Yeah.
same way that the other night I didn't want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to wake up
Yeah.
early the next morning. I knew
Yeah.
I had to wake up early and I didn't want to go to bed. And I
Yeah.
voiced that to my husband like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
I don't want to go to sleep right now." But he didn't say to me, "You need to go to sleep right now. I need to stop complaining about it. You need to go brush your teeth and get back in bed." Instead,
Yeah.
he was like, "Ugh, I know that stinks. You have to wake up early tomorrow." Right? Now, let's say that our kids decide not to hold the boundary or that they don't want to follow the rule,
Yeah.
basically. I'm still going to hold the boundary. So for us in our family, we talk a lot about privileges. So in our family, the basic needs are covered. So you're going to get fed, you're
Yeah.
going to be loved, you're going to get food, you're going to have
Yes.
a house over your head. Everything else is a privilege.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking any of those things away from
Yeah.
you. You don't have them. They're not yours to begin with.
Yeah.
And I'm giving the child an opportunity to earn those
Yeah.
through the choices that they make.
Yeah.
But it's on them. They get to choose. So in that situation, if my child flat out refuses,
Yeah.
I may say something like, "Listen, I can't make you go to bed. I can't make you get ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
But if you're going to choose to stay down here, then you're choosing to deny yourself of the privileges that I know you're probably going to want tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It's a weekend. I know you've been looking forward to hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
We watch a movie on Friday
Yeah.
night. Like, it's your choice."
Yeah.
And then again, move in the direction that I'm wanting them to go. I don't
Right.
stay there and engage in
Right.
that conversation. So they get to choose. And the most important thing for me is to enforce that
Right.
boundary.
Yeah.
If they throw a big old fit and they make it, really hard to go to bed,
Yeah.
or they just say, "I'm not doing it," and they don't,
Yeah.
that's their choice. But I can promise you, if you lay solid boundaries and you follow through with them, those things just aren't going to happen. As I've gotten better at doing this, and we've done it for quite a long time,
Yeah.
my kids still put up resistance,
Yeah.
and I am okay with that. I have a grace
Oh.
for that.
Yeah.
I allow them to do that because they're frustrated, right?
Yeah.
And as long as they're doing it in a way that is not
Like belligerent.
yes, belligerent and like flat out disrespectful,
Right.
because there is a difference. But that respect, I think, goes back to the same thing. Like, listen, I can't make you talk respectfully to me, but if you choose to speak to me, you continue to do that.
Yeah.
You're choosing not to have the privileges that I know you want.
Yeah.
And then it's
so,
on them.
So I was talking to a client today, and I think maybe she has the same feelings that a lot of people do, which is that I don't want to take away privileges from them because I don't want them to be sad, or like I don't want them to miss out on this thing. Like, for instance, like her daughter had like a big event coming up, and it was requiring a lot from this mom to like get her to the event. She also had to like volunteer at the event in order for her daughter to be able to go. It was a thing. But her daughter has been really disrespectful to her, hasn't done any of the things that she's been asked to, but the mom still wants her to be able to go to this event. And so she's like not willing to take away the privilege, but she doesn't want to enforce the boundary because of like that negative emotion that comes up if she were to. So like, what would you say to somebody like that?
I would say that you're doing the biggest disservice possible to your child by not following through with the boundary.
That's so interesting.
And I personally experienced that in my childhood.
Yeah.
I knew that I could get away with whatever. Now, I wasn't like this crazy wild child that was doing all these crazy things.
Yeah.
However, I knew that the boundary wasn't going to be held. I knew that I could kind of do whatever I wanted to do. And you know what? That followed me through adulthood. Yeah. And I had to learn a very, very hard way, as opposed to learning a small way when the consequences are small. When our kids are younger, even in their teen years, the consequences are a lot smaller than when they are an adult. I was fired from a job when I was 24 years old. You know, like embarrassing that was to me. And it was like emotionally, I was like, I can't even explain to you like the shame that I felt. Yeah. And it was because I thought I could get away with whatever I wanted because those boundaries were not held for me. So I think that in those situations, it is hard. Like, especially when we're wanting our kid to experience like the fun thing. Yeah. They've been looking forward to it. We've put a lot of time and energy into it. Yeah. If that client of yours held that boundary, I guarantee you it would make the world of a difference in her relationship with her child. Interesting. Guarantee it, because she's going to learn. She's not going to like it. And it's not going to be like right away, oh, thank you, Mommy. Thank you for, you know. Right. Like your teenager is probably going to be pretty pissed at you that happened. Yeah. But as you continue to do that and as you continue to lay a firm foundation, the biggest compliment my son ever gave me was, I can't remember the context of how it happened, but he said, I know you're going to follow through with everything you say you're going to do. And I was like, I have won at life. It really was like such a compliment to me because I wasn't always like that. It definitely was something that I struggled with because I was afraid of how they were going to react. Was it going to be like this explosive reaction? Was it going to like ruin my day? Was it going to like, you know, just make it harder? Yeah. The truth is the better you are holding boundaries, the easier it becomes, and the better your children will behave. Yeah. Because in those situations, when you say, listen, I can't make you go to bed right now, or I can't make you talk respectfully to me. Yeah. It's your choice. Yeah. But if you choose to continue to do that, or you choose not to go to bed, you, not me. I'm not saying this to them, but I'm kind of pointing it out to you guys. Right. You choose to deny yourself of that privilege. Yeah. I'm just here to like support you through it, but you get to ultimately make the choice because I can't make you, because that is the truth. Yeah.
So you're really like, okay, listen, child, I will be responsible for me. I will take care of my emotions. And also I'm going to show you that you're responsible for you. Like, I'm not creating these circumstances for you, like to a certain extent, right? Like we're kind of getting them into like the real world where they really are in charge of all of their own results. Yeah. Because, you know, I talk about thoughts and feelings and actions and results. Like,
absolutely.
So
it's giving them that ownership, right? If we're just making them and they're doing it because they're going to be punished, they're going to be shamed, or they're going to be yelled at, that's not them taking responsibility. That's like, I have to. I don't have a choice, right? I say to my kids, you have a choice. Ultimately, it's your choice. Yeah. You get to choose.
That is such a gift. Isn't that such a gift to give to somebody? It's like, I love you so much that I want you to like realize how much power you have over your own life. Yeah. And we're going to do that. Of course, you're going to make mistakes. That's awesome, because then you're going to learn, like, this is what happens when I make mistakes. I'm always going to be here to love you, of course. I'm like a loving and safe place for you to make these mistakes. And also you're going to realize, like, if you want something, if you truly want something, you actually can like go get that thing. You can, you know, create loving relationships in the future by the way that you treat somebody else. And I just feel like I never thought of it that way. And
sorry, go ahead.
It like giving responsibility to your children while it's still safe. It's like, I feel like it's so empowering.
Yeah.
Even if it feels really hard for them, like have them do the hard thing while they're kids.
Exactly.
And imagine what they would be like as adults, right?
Yeah. And the consequences are so small. Like, okay, they're not going to get to watch the movie tomorrow night with the family.
Right.
As opposed to they're going to go to jail because they're driving on a suspended license.
Right.
And they think they can do whatever they want to do.
Right.
Or they're going to get fired from their job because they think they can take as many breaks as they want, and they can't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those are consequences that if your child doesn't feel like they are making the choice, then what are they doing?
Okay, that's just like blowing my mind, like a lot right now. Because we want so desperately to control our children because we want to be successful at parenting and we want it to be easy and we want to break, and whatever the reason is, we think we want them to do what we want them to do. But what if it's the opposite and we genuinely want them to make choices? Like, always be consciously like living their lives too. It's almost like you're teaching them to parent themselves.
Yes, absolutely. You are modeling consciousness to your child. Beautiful. You are being a mirror to them of themselves so that they can see themselves, the choices that they're making, the feelings that they're having.
Yeah.
If you are getting caught up in their emotion and in the way that they just said that to me or the fact that they're not doing it, you are not being a mirror to your child and they cannot see themselves.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me, because I've seen you do this on Instagram and it's really cool. Even today, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Tell me what it looks like, you know, if you have a younger child who doesn't understand their emotions yet, they have really big emotions, they haven't figured out how to regulate them, which is all children, right? We just don't know how to do that. How do you help a child regulate their own emotions without getting like, oh my gosh, this is like, this is really hard?
Okay, well, I think I want to touch on one thing really quick before I go to that.
Okay.
Any of this practice is just that. It's a practice.
Okay.
So I want to like give the example of your body at the gym, right? If you want to get stronger, you want to lift heavier weights, you want to build muscle, you have to do it, and you have to do it repetitively. And you have to do it every day.
Right.
And you have to do a little bit more as you get stronger, and a little bit more and a little bit more until you advance to like a certain spot. Like today at the gym, I decided to try doing like a deadlift with this light weight that I haven't done before. Yeah. But it's been like a good 3 months in the making, right? Of like every day, like literally 6 days a week, every day, not missing. Right. It's so the
progress,
same thing.
Not perfection.
Absolutely,
right? Okay.
Absolutely. But it's the same thing with parenting. Like we have to practice. We can't in the moment make it happen.
So
it is not possible.
That's
like
amazing.
there's no way to regulate yourself. You know, I was talking with a friend, in fact, about this exact thing, and she's like, okay, it's so easy. Like, of course, like I hear these things that I should do, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. But then the situation arises and my emotions get with me and I try to be patient, but then something triggers me and it's just not possible. And then I'm upset and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try again the next day. Yeah. That is the definition of insanity. Yeah. Doing the same thing over and over and thinking it's going to be different. So we have to practice how it is that we want to show up before we show up. That is our weight training. Okay. That is our lifting.
How do you do that?
So there's a ton of different ways to do that, but let's just use the situation that you talked about, like with a toddler that has like crazy emotions and is having a meltdown, okay?
Yeah. You don't know anything about that.
Nothing. Never experienced it a day in my life. So I think first asking yourself, how do you want to show up? Okay. Right? Because...
And not in the moment, right? We're talking about like...
Yes. Outside of the moment.
You're taking a shower, maybe.
Yes, absolutely. Because
dressed.
We're busy, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you can't sit down and think about it. If you do have 5 minutes to sit down and think about it and write down, like, all the better. But if it's in the shower, great. Cool. And I really recommend talking to yourself out loud. I know that sounds silly, but like it's really powerful to hear your voice.
All the best people do it, honestly.
It's really powerful to hear your own voice and hear like what it is that you're going to do, right? So first of all, finding out like how do you want to respond? Like what would be like, let's say that you responded exactly how you wanted to in that moment. What would it look like for you? Because that would look different for you and for me and for somebody else, right? Okay, for me, my goal is to show up for my child in a way that is calm, that shows them that the way they're feeling is not too much for me to handle, that shows them that I can stay calm. I want to reflect back their feelings to them.
Okay.
This is like in depth, but I've
Yeah.
had a lot of
Yeah.
thinking about
Yes.
it, right? I want to help maintain like I think the overall feeling would be calmness, right? Amongst this insane
Yeah.
tantrum,
Yeah.
right? So I would say to myself out loud, okay, all right, how do I want to show up when my son is having this tantrum? Okay, I want to make sure that he knows that I understand that he's really upset. So I'm going to say something like, oh my gosh, you are really upset right now. Wow, you're really, really mad. This feels hard. Now, in my toddler situation, he would be flailing. He would be hitting me. He would be trying to throw things probably 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So in that situation, like, that's not okay. I don't just let him do those things. If he's trying to hit me or somebody else, I would say, I'm going to help you. I'm going to hold your hands or hold your body. I'm going to keep you right here close to me so that I can help keep you safe. And then I would just, as I felt necessary, repeat those things. Like, I know it's really hard.
Yeah.
You're upset right now.
Yeah.
And keep a really calm demeanor. My whole goal is to be as calm as possible and help him know that these big feelings that you have are not going to scare me away.
Yeah.
And lots of times when our kids are a little bit older, they might say things like, get away from me. I hate you. I don't want you to be here, right?
Yeah.
Those are really their own feelings,
Yeah.
like being said out loud to us. They don't want to feel that way. They're afraid. Their number one fear is abandonment. Their number one fear is like, I am going to be someone who mom doesn't love. I am scared of the way I feel because this is scaring mom. And what do we usually do, or how do people usually react, is like, calm down. What is wrong with you? Like, why are you freaking out like that? Go to your room. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right? That is their absolute fear, is feeling like my emotions and how I feel is too much for someone else.
It's so hard
That's how
because
we
it
feel.
does feel like that.
It does.
Right?
It does.
So obviously, I'm listening to these things and I try to implement them in my life. But the other day, I felt like it backfired on me. I was like, this isn't supposed to happen. So I went to go tuck in my oldest son and I just decided to listen to him. And I validated his feelings. I said, yeah, I would feel that way too. Like, that's a lot. And he instantly got bigger. He had more feelings once he realized that I was going to listen, that I was a safe place. And I was like, oh, this is going to take more time. It's requiring more energy now because I went in not thinking about him, but thinking about me, thinking like, I want to be a good parent right now. I want to feel good about me.
Key. Yes.
And so I'm going to talk to him and it's going to go so calmly and so easily. It's going to be a little like, I love you and good night. And I hope you have sweet dreams. And then he'd be like, Mom, I love you so much. Good night. And it would just be like easy and simple. And I could go to bed feeling good about being a parent that day because then I wouldn't have to worry, oh, he's in his room, I didn't say goodnight and all that stuff. Clearly I was thinking about me. I was needing something from him.
Yeah.
Instead of going in thinking maybe he needs something from me and I'm willing to feel whatever comes up for me so that he can feel whatever is coming up for him.
What it instantly made me think of is, think about when you're having a really, really hard time about something and you were just on the verge of tears, right? You're at the grocery store even, let's say, right?
Yeah.
And let's just say whoever that safe person is for you, your mom or your sister or your best friend comes and they look at you and what do you do instantly? Does your emotions get smaller when they're like, are you okay? Or do you does it come out just like you said with him, it got bigger, right? It's because you were offering space.
Yeah.
You were telling him, I have space to feel or to contain your big feelings. Yeah. And so he was able to let them out. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I think it's such a great realization on your part too. It does take more work. Conscious parenting 100% is more work. But for me, knowing that I am going to give my child the best opportunity to really find themselves and to know themselves and to love themselves, it's absolutely worth it to me. It's like doing the hard work up front to get the better result in the end. Yeah. But something that I really, really want to stress, which is something that I actually really believed that I was going to figure out how to be a perfect parent. Like, I really was like, I know myself. Yeah. I know how dedicated I am. I know when I want something, I'm going to get it. So, like, I was going to stop at nothing to get it. There's not a way to be a perfect parent. There's no way to not dent and bruise our children. It's not possible.
Oh, that's so hard. So hard to hear.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
But if that like matters to you and you want to do the least amount of denting and the least amount of bruising, the only way to do that is to work on yourself. The only way to do that is to do the exact work that you are teaching other people to do. To focus on your thoughts, to go inward, to figure out what are your limiting beliefs, what are your unmet needs, what are the things that you think about yourself that are being triggered in your children that literally have nothing to do with them. When you do coaching, when you go through the process of really, really finding out who you are, that is when you can show up as the best parent. That is when you can dent your child the least. And when they grow up and when they come to you and say, like, you freaking sucked as a parent,
which they totally will,
you're going to be secure enough in yourself because you have healed yourself that you can have the ability to say, you're right. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Man.
Like that is my goal. My goal is for my kids to tell me I sucked and be in a place emotionally where I can like accept that and be like, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like, I love you. Yeah. Because what would that do for us if our parents, if we were to say exactly what we think about our childhood, and bless our parents' heart, they were all doing the best they could. What would that do for you if your mom just without anything else attached just said like, Nicole, I am so sorry. Yeah. And then no other words. Yeah. It literally would heal like massive amounts, right? And like our
because it just tells you like, it's okay that you feel that way. Like, that's valid. Experience. That's totally valid.
This is your experience. I know what I'm doing as a mother, and I know the time and effort and the consistency of all the things that I'm doing, and my child still may not turn out the way that I want them to. They just might not. Yeah. I mean, there's a good chance they're not going to.
So you have to let go, right? Absolutely. You have to let go of this idea that you had that your kids would all grow up to be something that you wanted them to be. It's almost like we want to redeem ourselves as humans through our children. Yeah. And if they turn out perfect and amazing and people compliment them,
that's a reflection of
finally us. We can believe about ourselves. Like we did something good. We're worthy of love. Like it just comes back to, but what if I always believed I was worthy of love and my kids actually meant nothing about me?
Absolutely.
No matter how old they are.
100%.
And, which means that I'm free to just love them. I'm free to let go of everything everybody thinks of me, right?
That is how is how you parent in a way that you can not get wrapped up in the emotions. Yeah. Because what if this is just the path for them? This is their perfect path. Who is to say that they weren't supposed to be on this path? Who is to say that my child wasn't supposed to be really like the opposite of even-tempered, whatever that word is, right? Because I wouldn't be where I am right now. Without that experience, I wouldn't be here. Who's to say that the person who suffers from addiction or alcoholism or whatever it is, that's not their path? Like, maybe that was the thing that was to get them to where they need to be. And if we're so focused on changing them into who we think they need to be, we're missing the point entirely. Yeah. We're not giving them the opportunity to grow and learn into that person. Yeah. Does it make it easy? No, because we want everything for them. But if we truly, truly want everything for them, then we'll be willing to do the work on ourselves. We will be willing to heal ourselves so that we can give them that best shot.
Yeah. Because that means that then we're this resource that they have, right? Yeah. Not the only one. But then it just puts one more person in their corner that at any point when they want to. They know, okay, I can come to this person and they're safe. They're a safe place for me to just be a human and experience my life. And like, I love that quote. Reminds me of that quote, like, we're all just walking each other home.
Yeah.
And maybe it really is that with our kids too, you know, not this like, I have to make sure this person makes it to the end. Like, they're already going home.
Yeah.
We're already going home. Like, if we just trusted the process, if we were not so freaked out about doing life wrong.
Yeah.
And we just like trusted, okay, like, I've done my best, but I also trust my kids to figure this out. And if I haven't like severely traumatized them, likely they're probably going to turn out to be like fairly self-sufficient. And I think they're probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that they're not going to have like their struggles and everything. But I could just like be here for the experience instead of having to shape it. It really would require this deep sense of trust that like our kids are complete humans when they come to us. And I think that that's true. And I think that maybe they're just learning how to be in human bodies.
Well, let's take it back to like God.
Yeah.
Okay. What does he do for us? Like, what does he show us? He shows us through his example. Like, we look to him,
Right.
and the person that he is, or we look to Jesus Christ and the person that he is, right?
Yeah.
Not because of the things that he says, but because of the person that he is and the modeled behavior.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to say it, but like, that is how our kids are going to learn. They're going to learn from us. What are we modeling to them? How do we deal with our emotions? How do we deal with somebody who is freaking out in front of us? How do we deal with somebody who is triggering us? How do we deal with someone who is bothering us?
Yeah.
How do we deal with our big emotions?
Yeah.
Likely our kids are going to take on exactly the way that we deal with them.
Yeah.
When we have a problem, do we stress out? Are we freaking out? Do our limiting beliefs get in the way? Do our thoughts spiral? Our kids are literally going to not listen to what we say. I mean, hopefully they take some things, but they're going to watch the things that we do. And in those moments, those are the biggest moments that we are modeling to them, like, how to stay calm. We're modeling to them how to show up for somebody else. We're modeling to them how to show up for themselves as well.
Which is why it's probably not as important to tell parents, like, here's what you should say to your kid, as much as, like, here's what you would have to think to show up, like, calm and confident and full of love.
Well, I think you can have, all the tools and all the things to say.
Yeah.
But they're not going to fully work until you really have worked on yourself. Until you really... And it's not like you arrive at this place where you're like, I am healed, and now I can be the parent that I want to be. But you are consciously aware of yourself. You're consciously aware of what's happening within you. Mm-hmm. And that is why I call it conscious parenting.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't come up with the term by any means. But, that is how that's possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so I've got this list. I think we've gone over like most of them. We've kind of talked about expectations and boundaries, you know, setting up rules, privileges, which I really loved, versus punishments. The style that you would call it, which is just conscious parenting, I love that. The older generation has like this list of like, if you're an authoritarian parent, authoritative, permissive, passive, and maybe it's like a combination of things, but I think just the idea of being conscious means that you could probably fall somewhere in there, right? But it's gonna, like, if you're conscious of it, it means you're making a choice, I feel like, from who you really are or from who you really are trying to be.
Yes.
Instead of from your pain, from your trauma, from your triggers.
Absolutely. You're parenting yourself first.
Yeah.
And like reparenting, like giving yourself the things that you weren't able to give. And as you heal those things, then you can turn around and give those things to your child. Yeah. I think like hands down the biggest gift you can give your child is to work on yourself, is to do things like that you teach your clients to do. I mean, I think hands down it is the absolute biggest gift I wish if I could go back and do anything differently,
Yeah.
that is where I would start. I would
Same.
like eliminate every book and workshop and all the things that I went to and do that first, like, and
Yeah.
foremost. I
Yeah.
think that it's absolutely like the first and most important step in parenting journey if you're wanting to parent in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody is. Some people are just fine with the way they're parenting, and that's fine.
If you're
But
listening to this podcast, probably you're like not sitting there after an hour like these
Probably.
girls are full
That's
of
true.
it.
If you're here, that's true. So if that's you, that's, I mean, I can't recommend it enough. It's
Yeah.
I think it is how you take those tools and are able to implement
Yeah.
them. Because without it, they're just words,
Yeah.
and you can't even use them.
Yeah. Okay, so if somebody's like, okay, I'm in, I want to do this, like I need to, but my kids are already like halfway done. Like my oldest is for sure ruined. My youngest, maybe I've got like a few more good years. But if they go into it like desperate and afraid that like I've already ruined my kids, like what would you tell them?
I would say if you're working on yourself, that would be like a limiting belief
Yeah.
that is not true.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Like, think about the things that not just you but anyone listening dealt with their parents. If your parent came to you and just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, I really messed up some stuff.
Yeah.
I just didn't know, and
Yeah.
I am so sorry."
Yeah.
Is it too late for you?
Right.
Like
Oh.
in your 30s? No.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not too late. There's
Yeah.
never a too late. I think the cool thing with older kids is that you can have that conversation. You can say, like, listen, I have been learning some things, and I've really
Yeah.
been working to understand like our family and like the dynamic of our family and how it functions, and learning some things about myself.
Yeah.
And I realized that I've been doing things in a way that I wish that I hadn't.
Mm.
And I want to apologize to you. I don't, whatever it is, like, I don't want to yell.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to punish.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to, whatever it is that you come to the conclusion in. And I want you to know that I'm going to do things differently.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be perfect at it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try, and I want you to know that you are a good kid. And if I have made you feel like you are a bad kid or you're the problem, that is my fault. And I am so sorry.
Yeah.
And I've had this exact conversation
Same.
with my oldest, and just that I need you to know, like, that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I know that there are situations where I made the problem exist.
Yeah.
Like, there were some behaviors that I didn't love from you, yes,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how to deal with them. I didn't know
Yeah.
how to hold space
Yeah.
for your really big emotions. And I am so sorry. And I'm going to do my best to change moving
Yeah.
forward. And I think that he probably understands some of it, but more than anything, what he understands is that mom is willing to take responsibility for something that she does wrong, and that she knows she's not perfect and she wants to be better.
Yeah.
Because that's really what we want from our kids. We
Yeah.
don't want them to be perfect. We don't expect them to, or
Yeah.
at least hopefully we don't expect them to be
Yeah.
perfect. It's not possible.
Yeah.
If you have an expectation that your toddler's not going to throw a tantrum, or that your child's not going to talk back, or they're not going to like respond snippy, like
Yeah.
you are up in the night, and that is just like, that's truly a
Yeah.
unrealistic false expectation. Our kids are going to make mistakes, and as we model to them that we're going to make mistakes too and be willing to apologize, that shows them that that's okay, and that they aren't bad if they do it.
Yeah. Man, it's just amazing how that works, and how everything that we do and the timing we do it in, and even when we do something and an apology is necessary, how even that can be such a beautiful thing. Because then they're also learning, like, oh, okay, my mom wasn't perfect, and she's humble and like willing to admit mistakes, and it never meant anything about me. And maybe someday, like, I'll have to learn that hard lesson too with somebody else, but I know that I can always come and like apologize, and I can change at any time. I can choose a different way at any time, and she keeps on trying, and so maybe I could keep on trying too.
Yeah, Absolutely. And I think if we continue to show up in that way over and over,
Yeah.
that's what they're learning. That's what we're modeling. Whatever we model to them
Yeah.
is really like over time what they are going to come
Yeah.
away with, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's modeled that it's okay to, like, you're going to set a rule or a boundary and you know that you're always going to get away with it, like that's what you're going to learn. That's what you're going to come away with. Like, I don't have to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Right? Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, if it's modeled to them that like it's okay when I make a mistake. I
Yeah.
still love myself. I still love you.
Yeah.
Then that's what they're going to come away with. It's okay
Yeah.
when I make mistakes. A mistake doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
It just means I made a choice that maybe wasn't the smartest.
Yeah. So all of this put together makes me kind of realize like parenting is maybe not its own category. It really is just like humans interacting with humans, and somebody gets triggered and they are in a position of power, like us parents, and we have to decide how to respond. Because it really is. It's just all interaction is just human interaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the way that we, like, we're not just parenting our kids, like we're parenting other people, right? And parenting, I think, to me is just like taking responsibility for the influence that you have in somebody's life.
Yeah, I love that.
Even if it's a small thing, like saying hello, being polite, saying I love you to, somebody. Like maybe it's our job to parent ourselves, be a loving place for ourselves, be a loving place for our children, and just be who we want to be, not just to our kids, but to every human, no matter who they are or how old they are or how often we come in contact with them. And I think that's why it always starts with yourself.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense now. Okay, if there was anything that you feel like you didn't talk about that you think is, one, I love to ask the question to myself when I create content for my clients, what would bring relief to my people today? This is free content. I want them to get as much out of it as possible. If they could take a big sigh of relief, like, what's a belief or a thought that you would want to offer them that you think if they believed it, that they would take a deep breath and feel like they can move forward?
I love this question, and it brings me straight to the thought of that I had where I literally like had that relief feeling.
Yeah.
And the thought is that I have the choice. Like I am responsible for myself. And so if I want something to change, instead of trying to get somebody else to do it, which is just not possible. We cannot make other people do stuff. I mean, maybe we have like a knife to their throat, but like that's not possible, right? Yeah. So how empowering is it to think like I actually get to choose? If I want these things to change, it's me. It has nothing to do with my kids. It's all to do with me. And I think to me that thought was so incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
A little bit overwhelming. And a little bit overwhelming. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But also like it's you. Like you're the only one in charge of you. You're the only one that gets to make the choices for yourself. Yeah. So you actually have had control all along. I think I spent so many years feeling completely out of control. And that really is what brings us like so much fear, and what triggers us is like, how do I deal with this? Like I just don't have control.
Yeah.
The reality is when you are learning to control yourself, you have complete control.
Yeah.
And as a recovering control freak, nothing is better than knowing I have control.
Yeah.
And I have control to work on myself.
Yeah.
I can choose to work on myself.
Yeah.
Can I control myself every second all the time and show up perfectly? No. But that's not the goal. That's actually not the goal.
Right.
But I can make a conscious choice to invest in myself.
Yeah.
To turn inward, to look at myself, and to decide, okay, I'm going to start doing the work. Yeah. I'm going to start healing my emotional wounds. Yeah. I'm going to figure out what it is that is triggering me. I'm going to take time after I have a moment with my child, and instead of just moving on, even if it's later that night, I'm going to make it a priority to think about that. What was it that was so triggering in that moment? What was it? I'm going to make conscious choices because I can do that. My husband can't do it for me. My child can't do it for me. My best friend can't do it for me. Nope. I am the only one that can do that. And I just feel like that is so empowering and such a relief to know, like, okay, we can do this. And it is one teeny tiny baby step at a time. There is no like, do this. It is one teeny tiny step at a time. But if you're committed and you really want to do the work and you want to heal, it is 1,000% possible for anyone.
Oh, so good. I think I always like to start affirmations a lot of times with like, it's safe. And like, I would just say like, it's safe to take the next step. It's safe to take a small step. It's safe for me to slow down. It's safe for me to just pull away from this moment for a second and like give myself, like, there's gonna have to be a moment where you do something different. You can't just think different, right? Like, you can't think, I want this to be different. You're gonna have to actually practice. And it's gonna be terrible the first time. And you're gonna be like, whoa, that was so bad. I don't know if I want to try that again. It's easier to just turn on the TV or send them to their room or take away their Nintendo for a year or whatever. Because I don't want to deal with it. So, but I think when you decide, I'm going to put in the work, that means you're also, just like you say to your kids, if you're choosing to do the thing, you're choosing the consequences, you're choosing the privileges. So if you want the privilege of being respected by you and possibly respected by your kids, it's possible. If you want to live a life that you respect, you have to start. You have to do something. And it doesn't matter what the first step is, right? I think the first step is a decision.
It's absolutely a decision. I've had this conversation with a lot of friends, and I will see them make that decision, and I'll see them walk through the door, and they don't even know they're walking through it. And I feel really excited, and I know their path is going to look different than maybe it does for me. But I see them start asking questions. I see them start looking at things differently. And it is not a like linear path, like not in any way. I'm so glad you said that. It is not linear, like absolutely not. But if you begin and you continue, like it will continue to evolve. It will. If you put in conscious effort, it will continue to evolve. And you will, a year from now, look back on the things that you thought and the beliefs that you had, and you will be like, oh my goodness. And you will understand things completely different. You will understand what I'm talking about boundaries and punishments and like the thoughts that you have about your children and about expectations and about all these things. They will shift. But not just by listening to this podcast, not just by following somebody on Instagram. Like you have to do the work. If you want to build muscle, you got to show up to the gym every day and you have to lift weights.
And the hardest part is showing up. As soon as you show up, as soon as you decide, I'm showing up today, you could just say that every day with your kids. I'm going to show up today. And then you've become a conscious parent in that moment.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Every day when I wake up, I get out of my bed and I put my gym clothes on. That's just like a conscious choice that I make, right? So just with that analogy, like start there. Pick one thing that you're going to do. And here's a really simple one. And I do this all of the time.
Perfect.
When I show up in a way that I don't like. So I may feel bothered inside or something happens and I respond like, hey, I told you not to do that. And then I catch myself, I hear it, and I hate it. Right? I hate it immediately. I'm like outside of my body and I'm like, oh, I don't like, and maybe it's like more firm than that or whatever. It's different for everybody, right? In that moment, you very easily can say, wait a minute, I don't like how I just said that. I need a do-over. Hey, sweetie, I told you that I really didn't want you to do that. I say that all the time. Wait a minute. I don't like how I said that. And what an important example it is to our kids to hear, because they can then model that too. And my son has done it many times where he responds and said, wait, Mom, that's not how I meant to say that. So that's one really simple thing that anyone can do. It can be after you just freaking yelled. You can instantly just say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's not how I wanted to say that.
Yeah. Because it's going to get easier every time, right?
Every time. Yeah. Yes. Every time will be easier. And you'll think to say it more often. But if that's one simple little thing.
I love it. That's so good. Okay, that was the thing that I was going to ask you. It's like, if they could do one simple thing today, right now, in the next interaction with their kids, what would it be? And that is so good. It models all the aspects of being conscious and forgiveness and starting somewhere and modeling it for your kids.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Okay, this has been the best. For sure, we're going to talk for another 2 hours in the closet,
yep,
but
I still have more drinks left.
Can't record the whole thing. It's for our ears only. Just kidding. Okay. Natalie, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
I could just talk about it all day long.
I know. It's such a healing conversation to have, because it doesn't feel like, oh, this is all the stuff I'm doing wrong. I'm never going to make it. It feels really hopeful.
It is.
And it feels like it heals us just as, maybe more.
Yes.
Right? Then it helps or heals them.
Yeah.
It's just good all around. So
thank
you so much for sharing it in a way that felt so relatable and like clear, and just gave me so many aha moments. And I know that it's for sure doing that for everyone who's listening. You can find Natalie. Tell us where my people can find you if they want to hear more.
Okay, I share these type of things on Instagram. My Instagram is Natalie K. Shaw. There's the letter K, Natalie K. Shaw. And one of the things that I wanted to add, and I think it's so important, is that I do not do this perfectly.
Yeah.
I am learning and implementing and trying new things all of the time.
Yeah.
And my kids give me the opportunity to practice a lot. And I am incredibly thankful for it. Yeah. But this is not for anyone. For any parent, it is never going to look perfect. Yeah. It is never going to. And it doesn't have to. That's the most beautiful thing. As you work on yourself, you will be able to handle it when you make mistakes. You will not spiral or think, it's not possible, I just can't do it, there's so much. And that's where that thought work is so incredibly important. It's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But what I do know is that the power lies all within me. And that's like the most beautiful thing.
So good. And I hope you guys just loved this. I loved it so much. I learned so much from Natalie. And I'm constantly practicing what she's teaching. So anyway, thank you, Natalie, and we'll see you guys next week. Hey, it's me, Nicole. Wasn't that fun? I love chatting with you every week, and I love even more hearing how it helped you. So leave a rating and review, and send me a message on Instagram with what I should coach on next. For even more good stuff, including my free anxiety course and my relationships course and more, sign up for my email list at thoughtbosscoaching.com.